issues with reality TV. But yeah, all right, y'all. We're ready. We're ready. We're live. So you guys, I feel like my childhood has been ruined. And I got to talk about it. Like we got to process this in real time because I loved America's Next Top Model. I like, and I don't know how everybody else feels about it, but I absolutely loved America's Next Top Model. I actually rewatched America's Next Top Model like not too long ago, like the past couple of like a few weeks ago. I was like, you know what? I want to watch it again. And not just because it was nostalgic, but because I wanted to see if it was I wanted to see like how bad was it, like you when you watch it in the beginning, when it first came out, it was a different time. And so I was like, I really want to see what it's like now and how I feel about the show watching it now. And so that's what I did. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I know that as bad as this sounds to say, I still enjoyed watching the show. And that doesn't mean that there weren't still a bunch of really like cringy moments and moments where I felt it was just like it shouldn't have gone like that. But one of the biggest things that I always chalked it up to is that I felt like it was a reflection of the industry. Like it didn't it just felt like that was the reflection of the industry. And so as somebody who love fashion, I always knew that I was gonna be in the fashion industry in some way, just like from a young age. I was like, I get it. I understand it. And it's so many things about the fashion industry that I got hated. I didn't agree with it and it made me angry, but it didn't make me not want to be a part of it. Like the best way to compare it is how on Mean Girls, how everybody felt about Regina. Like they loved her and they hated her at the same time. That's how I felt about the fashion industry. It was like the I guess like the less likely it felt like you belonged there, the more you wanted to be a part of it, like to prove yourself. And that's something, if we get to that, then that's something that is definitely worth talking about, because even that feeling is like, that's like they do that intentionally. Like having that feeling is an intentional thing that they create, because it sells. It sells. So when you're in it, when you're wrapped up in it, and your goal is not to change it, but to try to like thrive in it and try to find how you can be a part of it, it's not easy. Like you end up kind of like, drinking the Kool-Aid. So, all right. The documentary is called The Dark Side of Reality TV. And this is episode 10, where they talk about America's Next Top Model. And so on this documentary, they interview one, two, four former contestants. um One of the producers, I think, or like directors, he's also being interviewed in it. And then the other person is, I cannot think of her name right now, but she was one of the judges. And she was the one that was like the mean one. And her name is like literally escaping me right now. I'm gonna have to look her up so that I can say the name. So they have about six people that they're interviewing, seven people that they're interviewing. No, eight. But the last two, they kind of like, they're not affiliated with the show. They just give their commentary on reality TV, and the impact that it's had on society. So they're interviewing these people. One of the people that they interview, her name is Angelia. And if y'all remember Angelia, if you watch the show, the Angelia was on 3 seasons of America's Next Top Model. Like she was literally on there 3 times. And so the first season that she was on, the first cycle she was on, she didn't get into the house. So like she made it like right up to the point where they picked the girls that's gonna be in the house. So she didn't make it. And then she tries out again and she ends up making it like that next season that she tries out for. And so she ends up doing like real good in that season all the way up until like somewhere in the middle endish, and she gets eliminated. And so, and then they have an all-star season where she also ends up getting into it. And that's the part where things start to get murky because she was technically the winner of that cycle. Like she was the winner of that cycle, but they took away her title because of what they said at the time was her revealing that she had won. So they were saying that she had said on social media that she was the winner and she revealed it before the season aired. And so that was the reason why she was disqualified from let me put it back. That's the reason why she was disqualified from being the winner. And so um they re-recorded the entire cycle, and they made somebody else the winner, and the winner that won it the second time around was Lisa. And I remember when I was watching it the first time and when I watched it again, I remember specifically how Lisa looked. Yes. Yes, Johnny. Like they look like they legit like took that title from her. So I remember when Lisa season was out, I remember not liking Lisa. Like I did not like Lisa. And the thing that was so interesting about her is that, like every reality show, they create characters, right? Like they create the people that are going to be like the sweet innocent ones. They create the characters that's going to be the villain. They create the ones that are going to be like the underdog. Like they give everybody characters. And so I remember like Lisa season, Lisa was the villain. She was the villain. And the things that they showed about her really, hey Palm, they really confirmed the fact that she was definitely given villain. And I just was not a fan. I just wasn't a fan of her. And so I remember even feeling like I don't want her to win. Like I didn't want her to win. And so she's actually one of the people that they interviewed on the documentary as well. And so they're talking about Angelia, and the reason I told y'all before, the reason that they said that she didn't win is because of the fact that they said that she leaked that she was the winner, right? But Angelia said that she never did that. She was like, I never said that. I never posted that. And for on her end, she didn't even know why she didn't know the true reason why she was disqualified. And so there is actually another side to that story, because when she found out that she was no longer going to be able to, like, she was no longer going to be the winner and they was going to re-air this entire season, she pressed charges. Like she sued them because, like, how are you going to tell me that I won and give me this, $100,000 contract, and now all of a sudden I can't be the winner, right? So there's more to the story, y'all. Okay, there's more to the story. So, she was they said when they publicly came out, when the show publicly released a statement saying why she was no longer going to be the winner of the show, they said that it was because of her past, what happened in her past. And what happened in her past, that stretch of time between the cycle that she was on where she didn't win and the all-star cycle, it was about a 4-year time span. And during that 4-year time span, she was an escort, because she was out here trying to make some money, like she's trying to do what she had to do. And so she disclosed all of this prior to going on to that final season. And so the fact that they knew this about her, They let her go through the entire season. They recorded the entire season, allowed her to win, and then all of a sudden she's no longer allowed to be the winner. Yeah, no, I don't think that there was. Okay, so here's the theory. Here's the theory. Because if that was the case, the thing that makes it weird is that if there was a morality clause and she disclosed this information prior to like being on the show, then that should have disqualified her from being a participant in the show, right? But it didn't. They aired the whole thing. So this is the part where some stuff like, so there's like some heavy speculation that is not confirmed, but it would make everything make sense. So y'all know how the most of the seasons, most of the cycles, I think maybe every cycle, CoverGirl was one of the sponsors, right? So with CoverGirl being one of their biggest sponsors, one of their ongoing sponsors, the show really wanted to make sure that they catered to the sponsors, right? You cater to the people that's giving you the money to do everything. And they would have like, representatives and things like that who would sometimes literally be on the show as guest judges, and they would be a part of the show. So you would even get to see their faces. And so when it came down to that final episode, or their like the finale episode, they always do the CoverGirl photo shoot and the CoverGirl commercial, and the representative for CoverGirl was there, right? And so the speculation is that CoverGirl has a lot of say in who actually wins, which is not completely unfair because it's their brand, right? So if you're going to have somebody who's going to represent your brand, then you want to be able to have some say in who that person's going to be, right? But what the speculation is that they didn't want Angelia to be the CoverGirl winner. And one of the Janice Dickinson, oh, I'm glad I remember her name. Janice Dickinson. She was the judge that was always like saying, like off the wall stuff. And she was like known to just be very like cutthroat and mean, right? Which turns out she was actually cast that way. Like they wanted her to literally be like Simon Cowell from what's the singing show? I keep wanting to call it America's Got Talent. American Idol. They wanted her to be like Simon Cowell from American Idol. Thank you, Mask. And so so that's part of the reason why she was saying the meanest thing that she could think of. And so all of these, she was even saying that she believes that CoverGirl had a lot of say in who won and like who would be the winner of every episode, because they have eliminations every episode, and so they would even be in charge of, or they would have a say in who the winner was going to be from that. So there was a lot of things that were heavily speculated, and the way that Angelia's season went, it appears as though there was actually something else going on, and her background was a convenient reason, because they also never found the post that she allegedly put out there saying that she was a winner was never produced. That was also never put out there as well. So it was like the dots weren't all connecting. So that was that was one of like the big storylines in the documentary. Now, when it comes to the show and like what it was like for all the contestants involved, this is a part where it really gets like, I mean, it just really gets bad. And the thing that's so interesting is that it's not new. Like we know this stuff now, but just like listening to it and thinking about what it would be like in those circumstances, I don't know. I feel like I feel like I would crack under the pressure. I feel like I would have cracked. So here's some of the stuff that they were saying was going on. So first of all, they weren't paid to be on the show, right? They were literally working for free. And they said that there would be a lot of days where they would be up 5, 6 a.m. and they wouldn't be coming back in until like 3 a.m., right? Like they were working really, really long days. They said that most of the because of their per diem was so low that most times the girls could really only afford to eat ramen and cereal. And there was one contestant who was saying that she lost a lot of weight, and when she came in she was considered plus size, but she was in like the in between of plus size and uh standard size, straight size model. And so when she was on the show, she started losing weight naturally because she was stressed and she wasn't eating. And because she started losing weight and she was no longer considered plus size, she was eliminated based off that alone. Like she was eliminated because she was too small to be plus size and too big to be a standard size model or straight size model. Happy Monday, Kayla. So were they ever on covers of anything during the show? I don't know. I feel like I know I definitely remember seeing Eva on the cover. Eva, she won her cycle. Um, but I'm gonna be real with y'all. I really only paid attention to who I cared about. It was a lot of people, a lot of cycles. I did not care about who won. So when Eva won, I was excited. I loved Yaya, even though Yaya didn't win, and I felt like Yaya should have won. They snubbed her, but it's cool. And I have such strong thoughts about how they treated Yaya on her season. Oh, it irritates me so much. Takara, so they were with when it came to like their contracts with CoverGirl, and the things that they like the prizes that they won, I feel like for the most part those were real. Like it wasn't like they didn't fulfill the things that they said that they would, but like life outside of that just was a different world. No, like yeah, facts, facts. Like when the black woman won, I was like, another one, another one. Yeah, I love America's Next Top Model, and I'm struggling, y'all. I am struggling to even talk about this. So, oh my goodness. Okay, so give me a second, because there's so much for me to cover. Like, I feel like it's gonna be hard to talk about how the show was set up and what they would win to. So I'm not ignoring you, I promise, but I'm trying to sift through everything I want to talk about. So they were they were they were not feeding them, and they were like intentionally creating environments for them to fight. Like they were not sleeping, they were hungry, they were giving them alcohol on empty stomachs, and they were really trying to create that drama just like in the house. And I remember like with each cycle the drama just got worse and worse. Like it just got ridiculous, right? And so, yeah, it's so dark. And so, some of the prizes that they would win, it was like a contract with CoverGirl. So you would be on the cover of CoverGirl. There would be like some makeup and things like that. Sometimes they would win clothes from the designers. They won a contract with a modeling agency, and even with the contract with the modeling agency, just because you had the contract didn't guarantee that you were going to get work. And so because you weren't guaranteed to get work, a lot of times after the show was over, they had a hard time finding clients, like finding people that would take them seriously. And so one of the women was talking about how she, even though she didn't win her cycle, she had her portfolio, because all the pictures that they take on America's Next Top Model, they get those. So the longer you're there, the bigger your portfolio is. So she said that she took her portfolio to different clients, and they basically were like, are you serious? Like, we can't use this, like we can't take this, right? Like, and a lot of times they wouldn't even want to work with models that were affiliated with America's Next Top Model. Like, they didn't feel like you were a real model. So if you remember, like, some of their photo shoot ideas, like the concepts were really out there. Like, there was one which I always felt was like very problematic. Even then, I was like, this feels like blackface. But they had a photo shoot where they were dressed up as different ethnicities. And so if it just was the clothes, like if it was just the clothes and you were wearing clothes from different cultures, that's one thing. But there was like white women that they had painted their skin brown so that they could look like and a Kenyan princess. Like, it was I was looking at it like, is that not blackface? Like, how did this feel like the right thing to do? Like, this is too dark to call this a tan. You're trying to, this feels like blackface. And so they would have these very like outlandish photo shoots. And when they would have these photo shoots, using these in their portfolios went against the norm for traditional portfolios, because portfolios are meant to show your versatility, but most times they don't want you to be overly made up. They don't want you to be overly done. They want to be able to see the model, like your essence as a model. And so, them having all of these photo shoots where they have like these really wild hairstyles, and they got all these like these, crazy clothes on, and they're doing all these things, like these random things, that is not the type of portfolio that would get you work as a model. And so and I guess, like, if I'm thinking like from a designer standpoint, if I'm looking at a model, um I want to be able to imagine that model in my clothes. Like, I want to be able to imagine how they would look in affiliation with my brand. And so, seeing them so fully immersed in somebody else's vision and in somebody else's thing makes it harder for designers to be able to see, like, how would this look with my brand, with my vision. And so, and with models, like, that's one of the big things, that is, as a model, you still have your own personality, you have your own appeal, and you're not going to be the model for everybody. But there has to be certain things about you that, like, resonates with the designer and your personality without it being too difficult for them to imagine it. Yeah. And see, like, and I feel, this is okay. Let me take a little break before I go into the rest of the documentary, because, and I'm like, I'm not even a big Tyra fan, y'all. Like, this is the thing that's wild to me. Like, I feel like my defensiveness comes from, I guess it comes from more of a personal place, because of how much I love this show. Like, and even rewatching it, I still love the show. And it makes me feel it's so conflicting. Like, I wish I could say It's completely disgusted me and turned me off from reality TV. And America's Next Top Model is just this terrible thing. It should have never happened. Like I just still I don't feel that all the way. And so I'm having a hard time. I'm really having a hard time navigating this. And this may not be a safe space for me to say that. But it's the truth. It's the truth. I am like struggling. I'm struggling. Yeah. And so like her hands are not clean. It definitely like you can't this was your show. Like it was your show. It was her idea. And even when they were talking about the premise behind America's Next Top Model, it was supposed to be a blend of like Big Brother and oh wait, was it Big Brother? I forgot what Survivor and Real World. Those were her two inspirations. And so she was like, what if we took a blend of those two shows and made it for models, right? And the thing about it, like in its purest form, I still love the concept of the show. I love the idea of having a platform that not only helps give people a way to navigate the industries that they want to be a part of and to break into it, but even if you don't win the show, you can still have a career. You can still take the brand equity that you have established by being a personality on this show and use it to do other things. Like even now, like how many people have been able to finesse their time on like these dating shows and turn that into its own platform. Or like people, if y'all ever watch The Circle, which is like an influencer competition show. It comes on Netflix. If you don't watch it, it's actually a pretty good show. I just haven't watched this last season because I found out early that they eliminated the only black woman on there, and I was like, oh, my hands are done. I'm done. I'm done. So I refuse to watch this season because I don't want to get mad. But the previous seasons, I like The Circle. Actually, the last season, not this newest one, the last season kind of made me mad too. But it's fine. We're not talking about The Circle right now. So I still love reality TV shows, y'all. Like sue me. Like sue me. I still love reality TV shows. So I love and still love the premise of the show. And so when before the documentary came out, do y'all remember that there was, I forgot why it happened, but I guess because like it was the pandemonium and we ain't had nothing to do but watch TV, and they dropped all the seasons. Thanks, Felicia. They dropped all the seasons of America's Next Top Model on Hulu. And so it was like a period of time during the pandemonium where everybody was like, so I'm rewatching America's Next Top Model, and how did we allow this show to be on television? Like this was a terrible show. And so it started like all this discourse about how problematic this show was and how so many other things that was going on the show was detrimental to the women that participated in it. It was my favorite too, y'all. It's I'm telling you, like this is such a difficult time for me. I'm really having a hard time with this. So and I remember it wasn't everybody didn't feel the same way about it though, right? Like there were some people that were like, this was problematic. How did we allow this to be on television? This show made women hate themselves. Like, like it was like a lot of that. But then there were some people that were like, the show was a reflection of the industry. And it wasn't like the promise of the show was to like shake up the industry and to change it from the inside out. It was like, no, you want to be in this is what it is. Like it wasn't like they weren't coming up with new concepts. Like this is literally what it was like in the industry. And so it was like a back and forth that was happening. And I remember thinking like, I'm just not in a good place to try to process this right now. Just, it just felt like it was just gonna shake me at my core, and I was not prepared for it. So even like I tried to rewatch the show, and I was feeling like triggered watching it at the time. So I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm good. I'm gonna leave this alone. And so it wasn't until recently that I was able to like watch the show, and I like watched every cycle that they have on Hulu now. 'Cause they don't have all the cycles on Hulu, but it also made me realize how many seasons. Like I did not miss a season of America's Next Top Model. Like there was maybe like 5 cycles out of all like 20 that I hadn't seen. Like that was my show. Okay. I was that was my show. I love that show. So okay, so let's get back to the documentary. So we talked about them like not feeding them. So they was over here on a hot Cheeto diet, ramen, cereal, and that was all they was eating and then drinking. And they're not sleeping. They're working these super long hours. They talked about even like during eliminations, they were already hungry, and they were hot. There would be a lot of times where girls would just faint in the during elimination. And even like the timeline for the elimination, like they were up at 6, and then they were eliminations weren't over till like 3 a.m. sometimes, and they had to stand up in heels. Y'all remember they was in heels? They was in heels. 3 a.m. Yes, standing up in heels. I looked at that. That was one of the things that really caught me. I was looking at it and I was like, so they can't sit down. The judges get to sit down and just stare at them, and they're standing up in heels. Like it just was so 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 crazy, like so intimidating, so exploitative. Like it was crazy. It was crazy. So there was a lot of things that they were doing. And so here's the next part that was like, this was the part that really made me upset. And it really made me upset. So the we all know that a lot of what happens on the reality TV shows is orchestrated by the producers, right? And if you don't know that, that's what happens. So even like down to like some shows, the producers are the ones who bring in the cast members. So all the cast members have their own producer, and they're the ones that are kind of like caping for them to win the show, right? And so the producers are really good at interviewing you and extracting the most triggering, the most like debilitating information about you. And the way that they do it is like it's almost like it's like incessant, right? Like they'll continuously ask you questions and poke at your insecurities so that they can get a reaction out of you. Because once they get that reaction, they can use that reaction to then paint the narrative for how the type of character they want to make you into, right? And so they were talking there was one woman who had like Lisa, she had just lost her grandfather like before coming on the show, so they took advantage of that. And I think that I forgot what she said exactly, but I think that there was like a part where she felt guilty, like she felt responsible for his passing. And so they would continuously use that. And so if she said that there anytime that you saw her like really like going off and like really like hysterical, it was because of that. Like they would ask those questions. And so and inside of those interviews, they also asked the women about their fears. And they started to realize that the very things that they were afraid of was what was becoming their photo shoot challenges. So like y'all remember there was one actually I feel like they did that more than once, but there was one cycle where they had to take a picture with a tarantula. Y'all, the way I would have been eliminated, I would have been so eliminated. Like it would have been a done deal for me. You put a tarantula on my face, we got to fight now. Like that's wild. There was women that was afraid of heights. Then all of a sudden they have this giant crane that they're being pulled up on to take a photo shoot. There was another one where they were underwater. That was another one where I was like, man, y'all would just have to eliminate me because me trying to pose underwater in the ocean, no, no, it wasn't gonna work. It was not gonna work. So they were starting to find that like all of their fears were then being turned into photo shoots. And so the motivation behind doing that is, this is a fear, make it into a challenge. They're obligated, if they want to continue on the show, to attempt the challenge, right? They have to try it, or otherwise that's elimination for them. And so and then knowing that this is a fear that they have, that it's going to lead to a reaction that's going to be entertaining. And so this also carried over into the um the makeovers as well. And so the makeovers, I always loved the makeovers. Um, Even though I would get so irritated when they would cry. Like they don't like crying during the makeovers, man. It made me mad. And I feel like that might have been a lack of empathy on my part. But every time they cried during them, I was just like, y'all, please, like it's hair. Like it's hair. It would always like bother me so much. And so and then there was a lot of times where they would start to repeat certain things that it like certain insecurities that it would highlight of theirs, right? Like I feel like this haircut makes me look like a boy, or I feel less feminine because of this haircut. Or there was one season where they like bleached homegirl's eyebrows and she was like immediately no, because now I don't have no eyebrows. Like she was like not feeling it. Yeah, she said, "Do you like look like this is what it takes, right?" And this is what then that's how they framed it. So I was like, "Do you want to be a model or not?" Like I'm not understanding. Like I'm not on this show and I get it. Like that's how I felt about it. I was like, next, next, because clearly they don't have what it takes. So it really sounds bad when you say it like that. Ugh, it's fine. We're just gonna keep on going. We're gonna keep on going. This is my truth, okay? So and so one of the other things that they would do is they would also use that to like sow different insecurities in the women, right? So like there was one time the plus size model that I mentioned, they cut her hair real short, right? And so they were like, don't you feel like now that your hair is short that you're really at a disadvantage? And she was like, no, I didn't feel that way, but now I do. Like little stuff like that to kind of like take it in the direction they wanted to go in, and create it and make it into a story. And then there was another contestant. She was on the very last cycle of America's Next Top Model, and she had a form of alopecia, and she had it since she was a child. So since she was a little girl, she was like losing her hair. And when she came onto the show, she was wearing a wig. And when they asked her like what her competitive edge would be, she said that she had survived that, like she had overcome that. that was like that was part of her story. And so when they found out that that was what was going on, they her makeover was to remove her wig. And under her wig, like, she was completely bald. Like, her hair was, at this point, her hair was completely gone. And so she was like, I wasn't ready to do that. Like, they forced me to confront it when I was not prepared to do that, right? And so she was like, she was crying so much that they ended up like not even being able to air her entire thing. Yeah. Hey, Adrian. I feel the show enjoyed humiliating the contestants instead of equipping them. Yeah, there was a lot of taking advantage of the things that they shared in order to make it entertaining. And so the remember I told y'all that one of the people that they were interviewing on the show was one of the he was like a producer or something on the like casting side of things, not casting but like something behind the camera. And so he was saying that the contestant knew, that particular contestant, I can't remember her name, I actually didn't watch that cycle, I had stopped watching the show by then. But that she basically, that she knew that that was her edge, and that that was going to be her storyline, and that she should have expected it. Like, she came in knowing that this is the thing that she was gonna, this is the platform that she was going to stand on, and the fact that she was surprised that that was going to be her makeover, it shouldn't have came as a surprise to her. And so I was like, wow. 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 So they did a lot of they did do a lot of exploiting. They did do a lot of taking the women's insecurities, taking their experiences and using it to be entertaining, right? And I think the thing for me that really was just trash. And it was something that I realized when I was watching it again, that was I just like picked up on it. I was like, why do they never recap where the girls are now? Like, why don't they ever talk about what the models are doing? Why does it feel like for the most part you don't really see them after that, aside from the ones that really stood out? Like I said, Eva, she's really not modeling. She's more acting. Yaya is really into acting, and Yaya is an amazing actress. Again, y'all, I love Yaya. I felt like I just felt like I could relate to her so much. But yeah, like you didn't really see what happened after that. And so a lot of them didn't even end up getting into modeling at all. Like, it didn't lead to anything. Like, once they were off the show, like they were done with them, their hands were clean. And that was and for the most part still is the way that reality TV works. Like, that's the industry. Like, that's how it goes. And so, y'all, I'm trying to be careful with my words on this one. Um, I feel like, hmm, I guess the biggest thing that I'll say is that I still feel conflicted, because I still, at knowing this and hating the way that the women were treated, it still doesn't make me just like completely hate America's Next Top Model. And like, I feel like that's something that is not okay to say or to feel. And that's I understand that. I understand that. I feel like you're supposed to just like hate the show after hearing what happened, and having the women explain like very plainly what was going on and being able to see that that's what was happening. But I still feel like I don't know. It's just a part of me that's like I can't say that I completely hate it. And that brings me to an interesting conversation that I guess I want to have. And I know like, everybody hasn't watched the documentary yet, so by all means, I definitely feel like you should. And but there are some people that I would have loved to hear from that were on the show. Like I would have loved to hear from Eva. I would have loved to hear from Yaya. I would have loved to hear from Takara. I love Takara. Takara's energy just it's just she just was it just was good. Like I loved her energy. And I love that she started going like more like the talk show hostess route cuz that was a really good move for her. I don't know what she's doing now, but when she did make that transition, I was like, yeah, girl, I like that for you. Because I would love to hear what the impact was from people of all different experiences. Because like I said, Lisa won the cycle, the all-star cycle, but Lisa wasn't really the winner. Angelia was really the winner, but Angelia didn't win. And I would just love to hear from all those perspectives. And one person I definitely want to hear from is Tyra. I don't know what Tyra would say, and there's a part of me that feels like it wouldn't be satisfying to hear from her. But I would want to try. I don't want to try and hear it because I really want to be able to get as much of a understanding of how everything went down because the again like the concept of the show was still so good to me, and it makes me sad to think that for so many shows this is the only way for them to get ahead. This is the only way for them to, and I don't feel like it is. I feel like it can't be the only way, but it seems like time and time again that's what you hear, right? Like that's what you hear about the behind the scenes and what's really going on, like all of this corruption and all of this like just like sadistic behavior that goes on in order to make entertaining television. And so I would love to hear from them, and I would love to hear like what it was like for like a bigger group of the contestants. But I think the other thing that I would love to know from y'all is, do you feel like this has ruined America's Next Top Model? Like, do you feel like this has ruined the brand? Do you feel like it has tainted it? Do you feel like, let's say like if there was ever to be a not a reboot, but a new modeling competition show, like do you feel like it could happen and it can be done in a way that is more ethical and mindful of how the people are being treated? Or is that just like the plight of is that just the plight of reality TV? Y'all, my my camera was about to die. I'm so glad I caught it. My camera was about to die. I can tell you for sure that it has affected the way that I see CoverGirl, and I guess not. Kind of, but not really. Like I already wasn't the biggest fan of CoverGirl. I just never felt like CoverGirl was for us, and the fact that they wanted allegedly, okay, I'm gonna say allegedly, the fact that they allegedly wanted Lisa to win and not Angelia to win, I feel like that says a lot. It makes me wonder if that has something to do with who won between Yaya and Eva. Like, I have a lot of questions. But as y'all are thinking about that, if you do want to answer it, I forgot to tell y'all something really important. And I cannot believe that I forgot. It's because I was trying to do this thumbnail. But y'all, this is where we're at. We're at 680. We are at 680 subscribers. What was we at yesterday? I think it was like 677. So 680, like we are slowly crawling our way out of the 600s, and it's up. Okay, it's up. Completely forgot to share it. Hey Tashi. I think especially for modeling, it's so harsh and fast paced for reality TV. Yeah. Thank you, Tashi. I feel like, I feel like it is, but also I feel like that's not the reality for all models. Like, and I say that because I when you if you know anyone who models like as a career, I know like I'm not gonna say I know a whole bunch of models, but I do know a handful of models, right? And the first of all, the fact that they find consistent work, and they're able to navigate the industry and still be themselves, that that to me intrigues me, right? Like I feel like what we saw with America's Next Top Model. Thank you, Tasha. I forgot to tell you, thank you for the heart me. What we saw with America's Next Top Model, I feel like it was to the extreme, right? And I feel like I guess it has to be because modeling is not as narrow as what we think it is. Like when we think about models, we think about like the supermodels, and we think about the ones that are in like the biggest designers, the most prominent designers, right? And for the most part, most people don't even really know models. If they're not one of the supermodels, people don't know models, right? Like they're just not really acknowledged. And so you googling Coco, I just saw that. Thank you, Kayla. They don't really show that. And so it's still such a diverse industry that there's so many terms of of a TV show, right? Of a reality TV show. And I think that I think that it's possible. I hope that it's possible. I think that's like really like I hope that it's possible because I still love the idea that everyday people can have an opportunity to do something that they've dreamt of doing. Like there's something that just makes me it just makes me want to see that. Like I enjoy being able to see that, and I hate that the way that it's operated this far has been so inhumane, and it just makes me feel like that can't be the only way to do it. And I'm gonna be like straight up with y'all, okay? The biggest reason why I really need for there to be a humane way to do this is because I want to be a producer. I want to have my own reality TV show. I want to be able to produce a reality TV shows. Like I have just accepted that is something I've always loved. I've literally always loved them, especially the competition shows. I love those shows. And I love the shows that like teach you the industry in creative ways, like with the challenges. And I love it. Like I enjoy those. And as toxic as they are, I still want to be able to have them, and it would be great if they could be done in a way that doesn't have to be toxic, but it can still be entertaining. And I feel like that has to exist. Like that has to be a thing. So even when I think about like documentaries, then documentaries aren't necessarily reality TV, but they are unscripted, right? And so things like that, being able to bring attention and using everyday people to bring light to certain situations or to certain causes or to celebrate someone's life or to tell a story. I love that. Like I love that that's something that's available to us. And I feel like that's part of what I love about social media. I think that's part of the reason why I was so drawn to it is because it gives you the power and the platform to be able to create your own media. Like this is what it feels like. So I there has to be, it has to exist. Like it has to be a way for it to happen. So it does, it's very personal, the fact that I feel like this. But yeah, I um I think that I don't know. I feel like I don't really see this changing the way that people feel about the show who didn't already feel a way about the show. Like I don't see it being one where people who enjoyed it completely jump ship. Um I and the people who really don't like it, I feel like they just didn't like it. Like I don't feel like there's a lot of people that were necessarily converted to I now hate this show and I loved it before. I think that for more people than not, I feel like more people are conflicted and for their own reasons. Like maybe not because you want to have your own reality TV show, but is it like I feel like to a certain extent, it's like, what does this say about me that I love this so much and this is what was happening, behind the scenes. So, and I kind of felt that way about, hey Keisha, that's how I kind of felt about watching the Nickelodeon one too. Um, I was like, it didn't necessarily ruin my childhood, but it does just, I hate that it's like that. Um, but I don't feel like it's a situation where you should throw the baby out with the bathwater. So, and y'all really like for real, if you feel like reality TV is just toxic and it shouldn't exist, I would be interested in hearing that perspective. But I don't know anyone personally that's like this is a sign that we should just eliminate all reality TV. No, I'm not doing a personality today. I've gone through all the brand personalities. Today is just I just felt like wearing fur. This is like one of my favorite combos. I love wearing fur. I love like the fur on the collar and fur on the cuffs. My only regret is that I don't have more than one of these. This is like literally the only one in the store too. So it really made me mad. So I was like, I couldn't even get it in different colors if I wanted to. I gotta find some fur to put on something. Yeah. Okay. So Kayla says it has a place, but I just hate the negative, lasting impact majority of reality TV participants have. Yeah. And that's okay. Let me end on that note, y'all. Let me end on that note. So at the end of the documentary, they asked the women, would they going back, like would they go on that show again? And one woman especially, she was like, "No," like, and she's like, "Sometimes I wonder if I ever needed to be there, right?" And then there, Angelia, she talks about the like how long the road was for her to get to a good place after everything that she endured. But she also is a journalist now. She was like, "This situation made me realize how important it is for me to." Um, use my voice and to tell my story because after everything happened, I felt silenced. And I love that. it doesn't justify the situation by any means, but I love the way that some people are able to take what happened to them and find their strength in it. And so I think that it is the thing that shifts you from being a victim to being not just a survivor, but a thriver. That feels cliche to say, but I feel like there's just so many things that have happened in all of our lives that they weren't great and they shouldn't have happened. Um, but those situations led us to the things that we now shine in. Like they gave us different causes to care about and different people to now, pay attention to and want to help. And so, yeah, not cliche, and I love it. Thank you. I was around when reality TV came about with Big Brother. It wasn't good, in my opinion. Reality based television creates the plot without regard to the people in the aftermath. So, do you feel like you're in the camp of reality TV can't be good? Hey, goddess, because I still feel like there has to be a way. I just feel like there has to be a way. So, I'm trying to think of like a way to say it differently, but you feel like reality TV is part of why Trump got elected? Really? In what way? Yeah, I feel like it has to. I feel like it has to have a way. I feel like no, it has its place, but I know it's not reality. Yeah. Mm. The younger people only know him from his reality TV cameos. Know what's so interesting though is that seeing Trump on reality TV made me dislike him so much more. I'm not sure how it makes you more likable. Like I didn't have to know anything about Trump to know like I do not like him. I was like, why does he have a show? Why does anybody care what he thinks? Like, what is happening here? What is happening? I never liked him. Oh, okay. As I was like definitely like I was like that's not making sense. As a 99 baby, I don't think the young people was checking for his show. It's his social media presence. Yeah. I didn't know I literally knew nothing about him. I saw whatever he was doing on reality TV and I was like, "No. Like this guy's a clown." I always felt like he was a clown. And it baffled me. It baffled me. And I just like everything that he does just further proves that point that he's a clown. I never it never made sense. It never made sense. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. But I get what you're saying about like being relatable. Like it gave him a personality, I guess, which for many politicians, you don't really get a personality. You just get a persona. So I guess I get the relatability piece. A literal fool. Yeah. A literal fool. Yeah. Ah. Yeah, y'all. I feel like the hardest part about this, outside of feeling conflicted, because I'm going back to I'm going back to the America's Next Top Model. On top of feeling convicted by not convicted like conflicted like about how I feel about it because of how much I love the show. I also just feel like the harder part was like being able to say how I felt also with the nuance to it. like it just did not completely make me hate the show still. And I feel like it's supposed to, but I that's not where I'm at. Gotta say it's giving emperor's new clothes. It is. It is. You know what's funny though, going back to the brand personality for a second. Trump Trump's one of his brand personalities is actually the sovereign, the ruler. That's one of the ones that matches his brand, his personality. So you saying emperor's new clothes definitely clicks. Yeah. Yup. Yeah. No, I know. I know it doesn't it really sucks when you see the brand personalities in the positive and in the negative, especially if it's a your brand personality, but it is so. Hey Shakir, not the Jester family. Yeah, no, they're definitely dual. They have their strengths and they have their challenges. So it's got the good and it's got the bad. And some people they don't mature in them. Some people don't mature in them. And so like, and I mean like think about it, it's like in a not traditional sense, but just in a real world application. There have been good rulers and there have been foolish rulers, right? There have been people who took their responsibility and their position with integrity and with honor, and there have been some who did not. But they still had it. Like they still had the position, they still had that power, and like it's the same concept. Like it doesn't change what you are just because you are not mature in it or being responsible with it or operating within that space in the best way possible. So, but I know it sucks. I know it sucks. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all, there was one thing there's one last thing that I want to talk about. I'm like just going to touch on. The country chose him. So, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm talking about more like kings and queens, the ones where it was inherited. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I was given the comparison of the foolish rulers and the yeah. So it was more just for like comparison purposes. So y'all, so okay, so remember how yesterday we had like our whole Kiki Palmer moment, and I was telling y'all that I was gonna come back and let y'all know what I felt like her other brand personalities were, because I needed to listen to the interview that she did on Club Shay Shay. And so I listened to that today, and I actually listened to it a little bit before I got on live today. And I was listening to her, and I thought about the fact that her book is called Master of Me. And there's something that I forgot to talk about when it came to the brand personalities. And that is the motivations of each personality. So the motivation of the sovereign brand personality is stability, right? And so that just means that the things that you do, like the underlying motivation, is for there to be stability. And then every brand personality has different motivations. Like your motivation can be belonging, it can be freedom and fulfillment. It can be control. Like everyone has its own motivation. Hey, Ashane. And so when I was thinking about the fact that her book is called Master of Me, and I know that one of the motivations is mastery, then that made me think, oh yeah, which brand personality is motivated by mastery? And so that led me to two brand personalities, and I feel like I can see glimpses of either one in her, but I feel like it leans more in one than the other. And so the two that came to mind is the rebel. The rebel is motivated by mastery, and the hero is motivated by mastery. And so reading about the hero and what they do and what they represent, I feel like she is more in alignment with the hero than the rebel. I don't get the sense that she's necessarily trying to like reform anything or break any molds. When I was listening to her talk, it really gave me this sense of like determination and will and grit. Like it's going to get done by any means necessary. And that is very much the attitude of the hero. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, okay, so these are the three that I feel like she embodies. And if anything changes, then I'll let y'all know. But listen to these and then let me know what you think. So yeah. So the first one, I feel like her main one is definitely still sovereign. Hmm. Actually, let me look and see. Let me look and see. So one of them is definitely sovereign. I'm gonna say fundamentalist sovereign. I'm gonna stand on that. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. The second one is in the hero family, but I don't know if it's the fundamental hero or if it's something in the hero family, but it's hero is in there, right? And then the third one is the entertainer. I feel like her third one is the entertainer. Let me find the entertainer card because she's always like she obviously has a sense of humor. Um I wouldn't consider her to be a comedian, but she is an entertainer, and that's even a word that she uses often in describing herself. And so with the entertainer strengths is playfulness, which definitely is her ability to provide enjoyment and diversion for a passive audience. And then some of the challenges are messages diluted by passivity of the delivery, and then sensory temptations. And so the entertainer is a fun loving performer. They use humor, artistry, intellect, and shock. They are people lovers, which she's also used to describe herself. Like she's just like, I enjoy people. Like I enjoy how it is to just interact with people. Um, Seeking almost constant stimulation, lives in the moment, and is drawn to sensory pleasure, highly adaptable, observant, and intuitive, a student of humanity, by extension, and by extension, all of the arts. The entertainer provokes emotional engagement and, as a consequence, can awaken sleeping consciousness. So, y'all, when 2 plus 2 equal 4, I was like, yes, yes, like this sounds like her. This sounds like her. So I was like, I feel like I pegged it. Yeah. Wait, what'd you say, Kayla? Oh, she definitely gives hero, especially with being the breadwinner early in her life. And Virgos value stability. See? I don't know, man. It sounds like I'm pretty good at these. I don't know. I don't know. If you ask me, is I'm pretty good at these. I'm pretty good at these. So, and the hero, let's look at the hero real fast. Yes, they always balance a person out. They always balance a person out. And it feels like it, although it's still, you still have your, your shortcomings. It gives you dimension, like it prevents you from being a stereotype, like I always say. Yeah. You're a Virgo? Okay. Let's see. I'm going through these, y'all, to see so it's the ruler, patriarch, judge. Yeah, I don't know if, I just feel like she's like real heavy on the, y'all. If y'all when y'all listen to that interview, you're going to hear the sovereign all up and through it. Just like I was like, girl, I hear it. I hear it. I'm trying to look for the hero. Okay. So let's see the heroes. You are. So it sounds like you. That's very interesting. That's very interesting. The deeper I go into these brand personalities, y'all, it really is like I just learn more and more, which is exciting for me because it just means like there's I won't get bored with it. Okay, so in the hero, there is the athlete, the liberator, the rescuer, and the warrior. And from these, I don't know. She's still kind of giving hero. But between the, if I had to get specific, if it wasn't the hero, it would be between the liberator and the warrior. With the warrior, there's valor, fearlessness, fortitude, endurance, conviction, and duty. Especially the endurance, conviction, and duty. And then when it comes to the liberator, the humanitarianism, justice, strong conviction, resolute morality, and optimism. Those two definitely sound like her. But then strength and power, discipline, competence, bravery, honor, tenacity. That's the athlete. So I'm seeing a lot of them in all of them. And when that happens, it usually means that you embody the fundamental one. So, but we got her families for sure. We got her families for sure. Let's see, self-sacrifice, courage, redemption, transformation, faith, strength, stamina. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I'm having a hard time picking between them. It still feels like it's a toss up. So, all right, last thing I'm gonna do. Let's look at the sovereign one more time. All the ones in the sovereign, because in the sovereign family, there's the ambassador, the judge, the patriarch, the ruler, and then of course the sovereign. Having these cards is the best. Like, it really makes this so easy. Okay, so with the ruler, there's power, confidence, dominion, high status, and leadership. Patriarch is protection, selflessness, leadership, and courage. Oh, maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's not her fundamental. Maybe her fundamental is the hero. Let's see. Broad mindedness, diplomacy, communication, clarity, sensitivity, prioritization, and loyalty. That's the ambassador. With the judge is discernment, justice, wisdom, compassion, fairness, and balance. Mm. Mm. I don't know, because now that I'm reading the card, I feel like one of the ones I feel like the patriarch sounds like her, the ambassador. Mm, okay, so that's what we got so far, y'all. That's what we got so far. So we got sovereign, we got hero, because between those two, I'm still having a hard time pegging it. So that usually means that we just go back to the fundamental. So we got the sovereign, we got the hero with special note of the warrior or the liberator or the athlete. Yeah. It's not firm, y'all. It's not firm. So we just gonna keep it at that right now. Oh no. Okay, so y'all can probably still hear me, but my video's off. Okay, that means I talked enough, y'all. Okay, but I wanted to make sure I came back and gave y'all that update on that. My battery has literally gone out on my camera over on YouTube. So get off of here. If y'all tomorrow, I still don't know what I'll be talking about, y'all. I'm trying to think of these topics beforehand, but they are just not coming to my mind until I pull up to this mic. But I'll do my best to let y'all know when I post my video, and um if y'all do end up watching this documentary, y'all come back and let me know what you think about it, because I definitely would love to hear other people's thoughts and perspectives on it. And that's what I got. So yeah, yeah, no, it dipped out. It dipped out. It's just so funny because my mic is still going. Well, yeah, y'all. Let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and get off of here. If you don't listen, if you don't want to watch the documentary, I definitely would still encourage you to listen to um Kiki's interview on Club Shay Shay, because it's a really good episode. And then yeah, maybe tomorrow we can continue the conversation about modern royalty, because I got some more stuff on that, and I really want to tie in Kendrick Lamar into the conversation of modern royalty. So, and I listened to the album yesterday as well. So I really got some context. So maybe that'll be what we talk about tomorrow. All right. But until then, I love y'all. Y'all be safe. Have a good night. And I will talk to y'all in the next one. Bye.